Things just got worse and worse and worse as the night went on. Again, valiant effort down the stretch for the Bucs. Just too little, too late. Let's go down and let's see what Coach Fletch and the rest of the crew has to say. And as always, go Bulls. So let's head into the locker room right now and see what the guys have to say about that one. Wow. Where do the Buccaneers go from here? What an incredible atmosphere. What a good win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They snapped a 7-game winning streak. How we feeling, Bucs Nation? It's time to party, baby.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Recher podcast. Happy, what is it? A Tuesday? It's a Wednesday? It's a Tuesday. August 5th. Where the hell has the year gone already, man? Unbelievable. Back here at La Casa de Recher here after a day at the Riviera. Yesterday at the program, a really good time with the friends and the family. But back here in Tampa, what a day at Buccaneers training camp. Plenty to get into here on the program. As always, I want to hear from you. Questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave them at the bottom of the screen there. If you want to join in on the conversation, there is the link. You can see it right there in the chat, StreamYard.com/AZDASCVWN7. There you go. Join in on the conversation there. Great to cruise. Costa Rica style, baby. 3 games in 11 days. Book flight to Tampa. That's awesome. Thank you, Dolan. David, we were going to talk about Christopher Morel here in a little bit. Follow me on all social media platforms. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I am everywhere. And like and subscribe, and YouTube as well. We got to get those up, man. Higher and higher. We want as many subscribers as humanly possible. It's been a lot of fun here so far. We got to keep this train rolling. If we want to keep this train rolling, we got to make sure we support it in every way possible. We've seen the super chats really do a great job. $1, $2, $5, $10, $20, whatever you can do to help. Please feel free to contribute via the super chat and support our sponsors, my friends over at Honest Hammer Custom Builders LLC, 813-244-0956. The promo code are right there. Go check it out. Those guys do a little bit of everything for you guys. If you have any questions, commercial, residential, Russ and the crew over there at Honest Hammer Custom Builders LLC will be able to help you out. Morel better not be on the roster next year. Bart Hill, what's going on, pal? Hope you are well. We got a pair of tickets to give away tomorrow on the program. We are giving away 2 tickets to the Buccaneers preseason matchup with the Tennessee Titans on Saturday night. Tomorrow on the program, we will tell you tomorrow at 12 o'clock, right at the top of the show, what you have to do to win those 2 tickets. They are courtesy of our friends over at Honest Hammer Custom Builders LLC. Tomorrow on the program, right at 12 o'clock, we'll let you guys know how you can win those tickets. And you can be in the building, Raymond James Stadium, Saturday night, the preseason opener between, again, your Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Tennessee Titans. What do we have lined up for you guys today? I'll give you my takeaways from camp just over there, over at One Buccaneer Place at the Advent Health Training Center. So we'll start the show with that, of course. Also hear from Todd Bowles because Teddy Bridgewater bringing him in. What does that mean for Kyle Trask and the rest of the quarterback room? We'll hear from Todd Bowles right here at the top of the show at 1:30 today. We'll hear from Jason Licht. He spoke for about 10 minutes. I got it all for you guys, and it was so good. Jason Licht on Teddy Bridgewater, on Chris Godwin and Tristan Wirfs returns, on Desmond Watson, if we could see him this season, what he likes from Emeka Egbuka. There's a lot of good stuff. So at 1:30 today, we'll hear from Jason Licht. 12:30 today, our good pal Tom Krasniqi from 95.3 WDAE will join us on the program at 1 o'clock today. Colleen Wright from the Tampa Bay Times. What's the latest on the Rays Stadium, the ownership? We'll have a quick chat with her before she heads out on vacation. What else did we want to talk about today? Oh, yes, WWE Unreal. My final verdict on WWE Unreal. Is it too revealing? Is it just right? We'll get into that at about 1:25. The logo for the NHL Stadium Series revealed today. I don't know if you guys saw it, but we'll look at it together if you haven't seen it. And you guys will tell me what you think of the new logo for the NHL Stadium Series. All right, a lot of good things from Buccaneers training camp today. And I think the big thing that really stood out was Baker Mayfield. After missing practice on Thursday and practice on Friday, Friday and Saturday, and the team was off Sunday and Monday. To get Baker back out there after the hand contusion, all eyes on him, right? We talk about Tristan Wirfs being the best player on the team, but probably the most important player on the team is Baker Mayfield, the quarterback spot. So what was he able to do today? Everything. There was nothing that when you watched Baker Mayfield, he looked compromised whatsoever. He didn't look like he was favoring it. They didn't look like they were kind of taking care of him on not throwing the ball or not trying to push the ball down the field. He got the ball out of his hands quickly. He fired a laser beam past Chris Izzian to Mike Evans, and Mike kind of caught it like on the side. It wasn't the prettiest catch ever, but it was a beam in the red zone. And it just looked like, all right, Mike's ready. Baker's ready. He's ready to go. So no issues there. Handed the ball off just fine. They did run the football a lot today. It's really, you can notice Bucky Irving. He just has a different gear. When he gets to that second level, the guy's he's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. If he can stay healthy, he's in line for a Pro Bowl, if not an All-Pro year. But I've been high on Rashad White. He looks good. He looks good in camp as well. So the other big news today was Teddy Bridgewater being out there at practice. And when you're looking at what he's been able to do, as a coach, helping high school kids, and I know he caught a lot of flack because he spent a lot of his own money to be able to help these kids. I mean, come on, man. There's so much bad stuff when it comes to money under the table and these NIL deals and people doing things the wrong way. Teddy's trying to uplift these young kids. Why the hell are we trying to get to a point where we are penalizing somebody like this that's trying to help the next generation? It makes no sense to me. We have to be smarter with things like that. But why Teddy Bridgewater? Why with the Buccaneers? To me, this shows that they are not completely confident with Kyle Trask. That's just what it is. And if Baker goes down, and they said, and you'll hear from Jason Licht at 1:30 today, this is something they've been thinking about for a couple of weeks now. To get a guy like Teddy Bridgewater in there who's been everywhere, we know, right? Teddy Bridgewater was actually, and Jason mentions it, he was an option, door number 2, right? He was part of that option if Tom Brady didn't come to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Teddy Bridgewater could have been a Buccaneer quarterback by now, but we've seen him all across the NFL. Phenomenal human being, a guy that goes in there. He can help you out. He was with Detroit last year. This is a dude that is going to come into your quarterback room and just make it better. He's got the experience. He can talk with the young players. He can bounce some of the ideas off of the veteran guys. And this is the reason why we were having this conversation a couple of years ago about Blaine Gabbert. Why is Blaine Gabbert here? How come he's there? Obviously, Kyle Trask isn't better than him. It's not always about that. Yes, you want a guy that's going to be able to come in and to be able to, handle the reins a little bit, maybe for a couple of weeks if your starter gets hurt. But you also need a guy where if Baker Mayfield comes off the field, he can go, hey, Teddy, what did you see? What did you see? Did I miss something there? Am I not focusing on this part of the play, on the route? Kyle can't do that because he hasn't been in there. Teddy's been in there. Teddy's been a starter in this league. He's been a backup in this league. So just like Blaine Gabbert was that conduit for Tom Brady, I think you bring in Teddy Bridgewater, and he's going to do the same thing for Baker Mayfield. Shout out to Nono. What a great name. Nono. Teddy Bridgewater. There you go. And shout out to Ryan B. and Chan Leonard, our guys. You're totally right. Honest Hammer, fire the cannons. You got that right. Chan said, Trask being a career number 3 isn't a surprise at all. Trask has had years to push beyond the clipboard, especially when Mayfield was a question. Nope, nothing. And Chan, to add to that, if he was that good, he would have found out through the grapevine, and he would have found out through his agent and through talking with other teams that if he would have went somewhere else, he would have got an opportunity to start. But that didn't happen. He came back. He came back here. Why? Because he was comfortable. And he knows that the only way that he can start, the fastest way to start, is if a guy like Baker Mayfield gets hurt. Now, I don't even know if that's ever going to happen because there's no reason why. Like, Trask has been around the league. He hasn't started, but he's been around. He's not like a spring chicken out there, and we haven't seen anything from Pratt. Connor Bazelak has been out there, and he's okay, but this doesn't bode well for a guy like Kyle Trask. And this is going to go down as one of the more disappointing draft picks in the tenure of Jason Licht. Jason Licht's been fantastic and made a lot of great decisions. but this was a miss. This was a miss. Greg says Krasniqi was Ryan Griffin. No, I don't think he's that bad. And Ryan Griffin had his moments at camp too. But let's hear from Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles spoke a little bit earlier today. This is what he had to say about guys like Teddy Bridgewater, guys like who is it? Sua Opeta as well was out there for the first time since injuring himself last year. This is a guy that was battling Ben Bredesen for that guard spot. It didn't end up getting there. Bredesen ended up winning, and Sua Opeta ended up tearing his ACL. But he's back working out today, worked out to the side a lot, but great to see him back in there. Here's head coach Todd Bowles, and here's what he had to say earlier today over at the Avon Health Training Center at One Buccaneer Place.
Decision to bring in Teddy, I guess if he's asked if we're going to sign him, but just what he would bring you that you don't have right now.
He brings us a wealth of experience at that spot. Obviously, we don't have it. I've been here a few years, but he hasn't really played. Obviously, we have a new guy just coming in, so we need the extra arm. We think we need some experience in that form, and the more experience, the better.
Do you guys, because of his experience, could help Baker in ways that, even though Kyle tenure, he hasn't played as much?
I believe he can. For here, he's definitely a guy that can do that. He's been in some of the same systems that Baker's been in. He has a wealth of knowledge from a coaching standpoint as well as a playing standpoint. He can't do nothing but know.
Speaking of quarterbacks, what was your assessment of Baker Mayfield's return to practice?
He's sharp. We're throwing the football like camp days. It never ended. He's very good on his read as far as understanding where the blitzes are coming from and knowing where to go with the football. So that's about that.
How about Lavonte Davis' return? He seemed like he was making up some lost time with some of those hits out there today.
Oh, he's going to make plays every time he's in there. He brings energy to the group, so when he comes back, we're a lot stronger on defense.
We saw Sua Opeta out there practicing for the first time in camp. Obviously, he's coming back from a long absence. How long it might be before could he be playing in the second preseason game? Do you have a sense for when you could get him back?
See what kind of shape he's in. It's been a long time. We'll look at the tape today and see what he's done and how much he knows. He's been a year and a half of football, so this is really the first day for him in pads. And we'll try to bring him along according to his team.
Is Desmond Watson any closer to participating in training camp and coming off the NFL?
He's getting better every day. We'll see how much he is competing in training.
We see Jake Majors working at the second center for most of the first 2 weeks of camp, and then the last 2 days a lot of Elijah Kwan. Just want to ask you about the competition for the backup center role.
There's a lot of competition. The preseason games will tell us a lot. The practices against other people. Obviously, we know Klein can play guard. We're looking at Majors as well, saying if he can do a role, do some of that. Bredesen can play some center as well. So the backup center is kind of a tricky position. You got to be able to multitask. Just can't really be a backup center. You got to have something else to do.
I think at one point you said that this preseason you wanted the starters to play a little more. Does that start with his first preseason game or the other two down the road?
I'm saying a little more in the game they're playing. It doesn't mean they're playing in more than one, but as far as going against each other, we're doing more one-on-ones than we did in the past. But in the preseason game, they need to play probably a little longer than they played.
But by that, do you not expect to have many starters going Saturday right now?
Depending on how practice goes on Thursday, a lot of starters are going to get a lot of reps in that game. I expect to see a lot of young guys on Saturday.
You had the reps out there today. It looked like a lot of the flags were thrown for the offense. You just see the number of penalties you saw today.
We haven't tallied them yet, but I did see some flags going. We tally them anyway without the referee, but those are things that cannot happen. So playing a game full time, simulating one anyway in front of the referee, the things that we need to see, and they need to throw them now so everybody can be aware of it and we can get better at it.
Coach, you won the battle there at the goal line defense.
I think it was 2-2. Anything else? Thanks.
And there you go. Hey, Coach Todd Bowles discussing a multitude of topics today over at the Avon Hill Training Center at One Buccaneer Place. Some of the what about that stood out to you? Feel free to comment at the bottom of the screen. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them right there. And if you guys want to chime in via the video chats, this is the way you can do it. There is the link right there in the chat, streamyard.com/AZDASCVWN7. Whether you're on your phone or your laptop, just click on that link in the chat and you could join in on the conversation. What about Todd Bowles' comments right there What stood out to you the most? And I think about what he said about Teddy Bridgewater and the question that he was asked about, can Teddy Bridgewater help Baker in a way that Kyle can't? And he said yes. That was kind of the beginning of the question, but he started his answer with yes. And they're looking for something different from the backup quarterback spot. And I know AC's kind of messed around. Maybe they trade Baker and just go with Teddy. We know that's not going to happen. But with that being said, and shout out to Shiver Me Timbers in the house. So glad you're able to join us today. It's a strong indication that the Buccaneers are not thrilled with the development of Kyle Trask. And to the point where that he's not good enough to be able to beat out Baker. We know that because, it wasn't even a real competition. Baker won that, and Baker ended up being the starter and has been the last couple of years. But not to the point where that Trask is impressed enough in training camp or impressed enough in the preseason where when a quarterback goes down due to injury, teams aren't even calling the Buccaneers. So it's tough because the quarterback market's been kind of wonky the last couple of seasons. And part of the reason that he stayed here is I think he's comfortable with the system, but I think there's another aspect of it where he hasn't really excited anybody. He hasn't impressed anybody where some teams would look at him and go, maybe if we got him here, he'd be better. Maybe if we got him here, we'd be able to unlock some of that good play that we saw at Florida. I just don't see it. He doesn't wow you in any way possible. I thought he's been solid the last couple of years, but I mean, this camp has been, in my opinion, his worst one so far. I haven't been impressed. Not one bit. You heard Todd Bowles answer the question about Desmond Watson as well. I mean, this big guy, and you're going to hear Jason Licht's response to that later on at 1:30 today with Desmond Watson. They are being very by the book and very PG when it comes to Desmond Watson. You heard a little bit there from Todd Bowles. Just wait till you hear Jason Licht's candor when he was asked that question. He said something to the effect of him being, it's been solid, his improvement. Listen to how he talks about Chris Godwin and Tristan Wirfs and their recuperation and how they're rehabbing and how they're doing fantastic. They're doing great. They're exactly where they need them to be. And then Desmond Watson, it's like, well, it's solid. It's not working. It's not working with Desmond Watson, and I think it's just a matter of time until we see that guy move on. He's just standing on the side, like just watching practice now. He's not even doing those laps like we saw. They're giving this kid every opportunity to succeed, and he's just not taking the bull by the horns. It's very frustrating when you're watching it. Chan, helping out with the super chat, a donation of $5. A big thank you to our guy, Chan Leonard. You are the man, buddy. Appreciate you more than you know. If you want to join in via the super chat, like our guy, Chan, $1, $2, $5, $10, $20, whatever you can give, every little bit helps. Please do, just like our guy, Chan Leonard. You are the man. Thank you. And also, Chan's always getting on your case about likes. Kill that like button, too. We talk about subscribing, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. You got to kill that like button for me. Click that like button. Coach Bowles is at the master of the understatement. I don't know if the years of watching what Trask is good at. He's admitted everything. Yeah, unfortunately for him, that seems to be the truth. He's done a decent job over the years with the deep ball. He can push the ball down the field. Like, he doesn't look like he's going to break a pane of glass with a brick anyway, but he's solid, but just not spectacular. He's just normal and average. Not good. Not good at all. Click that like button, everybody. Also, let's see what our guy Greg DeCruz from Costa Rica. I think it's unrealistic to expect Baker not to get banged up, especially the way he plays if he misses any games. They need a veteran who's been there and done that. I couldn't agree with you more. Baker Mayfield is a guy that plays like his hair is on fire. He's not going to run out of bounds. He's going to drop his shoulder, and he's going to try to get those extra yards. And sometimes that works. Sometimes it goes against you. We saw that in Cleveland where he banged up his left shoulder, and that was his undoing. That gave them an excuse to be like, see, this guy's not durable. So, you have to be conscientious of what type of quarterback that you have. And as he gets older, is he going to be more careful with the football? Is he going to be more careful with his body? Maybe. But part of that gunslinger mentality, part of that living on the edge mindset, that's what makes Baker Baker. And I don't know how much you want to really rob that and take that away from him. Watson's just too huge. It's a real problem. They don't want any medical emergencies in the intense Florida heat. Yeah, I guess so, but it was hotter last week when I was videotaping him walking around barefoot. I think that was the day where it was 100 degrees out. So when it comes to Watson, I hear some people like, oh, I feel bad, and I sympathize. I don't know if I do. I really don't know if I do, because the more and more I talk to former Bucs players, Ian Beckles including, I just, at the end of the day, they're giving him every opportunity to do this, and he's not. It doesn't seem like he's doing it. It doesn't seem like he's making most of the opportunity. These people care about him. They care about, whatever the reason is, they want him to be able to, be a part of this team and contribute to the Buccaneers defensive line. Yeah, whatever your motive is, they're still giving him an outlet. They're still giving him an opportunity to do something that's not only going to better his career, but better his life. And he's not taking advantage of it. So why do we feel bad for him? I don't know if we should. Richie P, he also contributed via the super chat yesterday. Thank you, my brother. I do like the Teddy signing. We have had interest in him in the past, so this is a good signing. Lady Evil in the house. Love the signing of Teddy. Trace seemed to do everything right this preseason. He has definitely swayed my opinion on Watson. Yeah, man. And you guys remember that when I was having this conversation with him, I was like, hey, man, I think it's a really cool thing that the Bucs are doing this, right? And he's like, no, it's not cool. I'm not looking at it like that. I'm like, oh, caught me by surprise. He's like, no, man, this guy's wasting his opportunities, pissing me off. I said, you offended? Are you offended, Ian Beckles? And he was like, no. And then come back later, he's like, yes. And then I asked him again. He's like, no. Are you offended, Ian, about Desmond Watson? No. Yes. No. I'm going to bust his balls about that tomorrow. Beckles and Recher podcast. Don't miss that in the 3 o'clock hour. Manana. Dolan, you're there. I do not feel bad for Watson. He got a chance. Baker's a hockey player type QB. He'll play hurt. He's a tough SOB. And Jacko Bluntly, I love it. Hit that like button, y'all. Come on, everybody. Hit that like button at once. This is how we're going to spread the news when it comes to our stuff right here on the J Recher podcast. Again, follow me at J Recher on all social media platforms. And then we'll continue to grow this baby. That is for sure. All right. DT, David Terry, you've been asking me this question. Okay. We'll get back to the Bucs talk in about 7 minutes with our guy, Tom Krasniqi. So bear with me when it comes to the Rays talk. Hey, guess what? Rays lost yesterday. Shocker. 5-1. First game there in California against the Los Angeles Angels, a 5-1 loss. Adrian Hauser in his debut with the Tampa Bay Rays, I don't know. Wasn't all that impressed. 5 2/3 innings pitched, 11 hits, 5 runs, all of them earned. Hit by pitch as well. Nolan Shanuel. I mean, Seymour came in and threw the ball pretty well, but I don't know. It's hard to judge pitchers that come into the Rays system in the middle of the year because it takes a little while for Kyle Snyder to be able to get his hands on him and to be able to adjust everything. I get that. I understand that wholeheartedly. So I'm kind of giving him a pass. What I want to talk about is Christopher Morel. If you are a team like the Tampa Bay if you're a team like the Tampa Bay Rays, right, you can't honestly tell me that you, with a straight face, can make a lineup up like that and have that guy on the mound. I don't care how good he hits lefties. It does not matter to me whatsoever. It doesn't. Well, this is why they brought him in. This is why they traded for him. They traded for him so he could go in there and do his thing against left-handed pitching. Okay, cool. So you have a splits guy. That's why you brought him in. Right? Do we agree? Do we freaking agree that this is the reason why Christopher Morel was in the lineup last night? Whether you agree or disagree with the decision, we all agree that the reason is because he is in there as a right-handed bat against left-handed pitching. Do you guys know what Christopher Morel's batting average is against left-handed pitching this year? It is 53 points lower than against right-handed pitching, which doesn't even make sense. 181. His on-base percentage is 245. He gets on base less than a quarter of the time against left-handed pitching. This is the reason why he is on the team. And it is mind-boggling to me that a team like, and I'm just, listen to me when I say this, because nobody else is going to talk about this. Okay. Nobody else is going to say it quite like this. All right. It is so mind-boggling to me that a team like the Tampa Bay Rays that are so focused on players that don't have an ego, you have to be willing to do whatever it takes to win. You got to be versatile. It's about the team over the player. It's so ironic that the team that employs players that have that selfless type mindset, you can't have an ego, has such an incredible ego that they cannot get rid of a guy like Christopher Morel because they're so focused on how they acquired him rather than what he can do for the team. Because this will admit that they were wrong in their assessment of this player. Now, it's just so strange which hills the Rays decide to die on. You're going to give up a 24-year-old right-hander in Taj Bradley for a reliever in Griffin Jax. I don't care how good of a reliever he is. He's not a closer. He's not pitching the ninth inning for you, okay? And the kid is 30. He's going to be 31 in November. And everybody goes, well, he's got team control. Who gives a shit about team control? He's a reliever. He's a middle reliever that's going to be 31 next season. And you traded away a 24-year-old right-hander that was supposed to be part of your future. This is a guy in Taj Bradley. Like, you're the pitching people. You're the pitching and defense. What is the identity of the Rays? Pitching and defense. And you couldn't figure out what to do with Taj Bradley, a guy with a slider and a curveball and a fastball in the upper 90s? Your ego says get rid of Taj Bradley and keep Christopher Morel? I told you guys this 2 months ago when they sent Chandler Simpson down and they kept Cameron Meisner. And then what happens? What have we seen the last month or so? Oh, Chandler Simpson got called back up and Meisner got sent back down. Oh, well, send Chandler Simpson down. Send him down so he can work on his defense. I told you then, and I'll told you now. Chandler Simpson is never going to be an everyday center fielder for a major league team. He's going to play there some, and they might put him out there for maybe like a couple of weeks. But long term, you just don't do that. You don't develop. You could be a super fast guy. You could be a super athletic guy. It just doesn't work like that. You can't, as much as you want to practice it, getting reads on the ball, getting jumps on the ball, you can incrementally get better. But it's such a vast spectrum to be able to think that this guy is going to be able to do the job. A guy like Kevin Kiermaier, talk about his offense all you want, but defensively, we all know how good he was. Do you think he sucked? Do you think he was just a marginal defender and then all of a sudden, like, he worked at it with the Rays in the minor leagues and then became good? He was always like that. He was like that at Purdue. He was like that as a kid growing up. He was like that with the Rays. You just don't automatically become a great center fielder. It is one of the most difficult positions to play on the field. It is so difficult to do that. He's fast as hell. He's going to put the ball in play, and I think there's a spot for him on this team. But the decision that this team has made this year has been bad move after bad move after bad move after bad move. And everybody just kind of wants to throw it out like, oh, not a big deal. All right, we're getting farther and farther away from not just the World Series appearance of 2020, but their last postseason appearance. Farther and farther and farther away. And everybody wants to give Kevin Cash a pass, and everybody wants to give Kyle Snyder a pass, and Eric Neander a pass. We're not even going to talk about the ownership. And the fallback is always, well, they don't have the same payroll as everybody else. They didn't have the same payroll as everybody else a couple of years ago when they won the division. They didn't have the same payroll as everybody else a couple of years ago when they went to the World Series. And now they're not doing it. They're not turning chicken shit into chicken salad. And now we're just stuck. We're stuck with some pulled chicken that's 3 months old, that's got some mold growing on it, and it's in the back of the refrigerator, and you're like, I'm not eating that shit. I'm ordering in. I'm ordering a pizza. I'm getting Chinese food. Uber Eats me some McDonald's. Give me a Big Mac at midnight. I'm not eating some pulled chicken. And everybody tells me it still tastes good. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. We sit here and we're like robots. Rays fans are like robots. You're like Rikishi when he hit Stone Cold Steve Austin with the car. I did it for The Rock. I did it for the people. You Rays fans out there with these blindfolds on. Kevin Cash, whatever he says, he does is right. Whatever Derek Neander, every move he makes is right. Everything that Kyle Snyder tells a pitcher is right. Apparently not. Apparently not. Because this team, outside of that, 25-9 stretch, has been horrible. Horrible. You think it's going to get better next year? Why? What's the big change that's going to happen next year? New owners? Okay, that may be part of it. But the core values of this team is pitching and defense. Have we been impressed with the pitching and defense? If the Rays get more money next year and going forward, what are they going to spend that money on? Are they going to spend that money on arms? They're going to spend that money on bats. The pitching has to be better. The defense has to be better. This team has to be better as a whole. Because if not, we're just going to have the same conversation over and over and over again. All right, let's head on over to the studios there in Feather Sound, and let's bring in our pal, Krasniqi. T-Chris, what's going on, buddy? How are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. What's going on?
Hey, great seeing you this morning at Bucs Camp. Doing great. Nice and cool in here.
I was just going to say we both lost 4 pounds today because of the freaking heat. And we're not going to tell everybody our secret of where we sit. We're not going to do that. Not going to do that at all. We'll talk about Bucs Camp in a bit, but my emotions are flying high right now when it comes to the Rays. I was just saying about Christopher Morel. It's wild to me that a team that focuses on bringing in players that don't have an ego. The Rays have this ego of like, can't get rid of this guy because of the deal that they made. He's 0 for 4 last night with 4 punch-outs. The batting average is 50 points lower against left-handed pitching this year. Please, what is it with Christopher Morel? Does he have naked pictures of Cash, Neander? What is it?
It must be, Jay, because I've been ranting about this literally for the last 3 weeks. And it's one rant after another. And I'm tired of ranting on it because everyone knows how I feel. The Rays should part ways with him. It's not working. The trade was a bad trade. You just have to cut your losses and move on. And by continuously throwing him out there, batting him cleanup last night, are you kidding me? First game on the crucial road trip with your season hanging in the balance, you're putting this guy out there. You know what he's going to do. More importantly, you know what he's not going to do,
right? Which
is connect on a baseball, which is have productive at-bats. Jay, I was watching him last night. He's swinging as hard as he can. He's not even looking at the ball. His mechanics are all off. It's an absolute dumpster fire. It really is. And what we're entering right now, Jay, and I hate to say this about the Rays because I respect what they do, this is organizational malpractice by continuing to put this guy out there because you're insulting everyone's intelligence. Everybody knows he can't play. Christopher Morel knows he can't play. And it's best for all parties to just cut bait and move on.
Yeah, he'll run into one once a week. And it's like, see? And it's like, no, you can't do that. You can't get on base less than 25% of the time against left-handed pitching. It's not about even hits. It's like getting on base. It's mind-blowing to me. And when you look at this team, like, that's the worst way to start that road trip last night. You end up getting a run. You're like, oh, okay, 1-0 lead. And then it's just you say Kikuchi out there taking care of business. Can the Rays turn this around? Can the Rays make the playoffs? Because I feel like the percentage is getting lower and lower by the day. And I don't even know if it's higher than 5% right now.
My optimism is dwindling. And after last night, I mean, that was the perfect opportunity to get off on the right foot against an Angels team that is really not any good. You know, minus 63 on their run differential. They haven't been good all season long. They had Kikuchi on the ropes. I mean, they only got 1 run in the first, Jay, and they forced him to throw 34 pitches in that 3rd inning, and they could not get any runs across. Once he got through that inning, it was smooth sailing after that. So a couple of things. I think this team misses Chandler Simpson. They miss him bad because there's nobody capable, especially at the top of the order, of getting on, stealing a base, manufacturing runs. I love having Chandler Simpson batting leadoff and with Yandy hitting second. I think that's a good recipe for the Rays. And look, Yandy's been doing great. He's one of the very few guys that are hitting, but they miss Chandler Simpson. Hopefully he comes back real soon, and they're missing Jonathan Aranda as well.
Yeah, when you don't have Aranda in there. And I think, when you look at the second half of the season, Aranda was struggling coming out of the gates too. And it just that day when they lost 3 guys in one day, it was not good for the Tampa Bay Rays. So they need to turn it around. They've got to find some kind of fire, some kind of gumption. We give Kevin Cash a lot of love because he's so even keel. He doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. But this team needs a swift kick in the ass, and guys need to be able to step up. And it worries me. Like, the offense is going to come and go. We get that, but some of the pitching, just the pitching. You get rid of Taj Bradley. I mean, you look at the stats for our guy Pepio and Boz. I mean, outside of Drew Rasmussen, what pitcher could you look at this year and be like, I've been impressed, or he's exceeded expectations? There's not many.
I think Pepio's done a really good job. His last start obviously was not a good one, but he's been very consistent, Jay, and he goes out there and he criminally does not get any run support. Yeah. And that's been happening really for the most part this season. Rasmussen has been outstanding. Boz has been, up and down here and there. I think Joe Boyle's got a lot of upside to him. I like what he did over the weekend. 5 shutout innings against that Dodger lineup was a very good sign for him going forward. And, you mentioned Adrian Hauser, and first inning was pretty good. He struck out a couple of guys, and then he left a couple of pitches up in the zone, and the Angels really took advantage of it. And he, again, another guy with no run support to back him up. So the pitching's been okay, not great. It hasn't been as good as you and I have seen the last several years. And look, the bottom line is the bullpen has been an absolute disaster. And in the month of July, Jay, if things continue to go the way they've been going, we're going to look back at the month of July, 7-18. And many of those losses, I think 11 of the 18 losses, came as a direct result of the bullpen blowing games.
Yeah, not good. And that's supposed to be a strength. And I think that's the big problem with the Rays is your pitching and defense. That's supposed to be your staple. That's supposed to be your identity. And it's severely underwhelming this year. Let's talk about a team that makes us a little bit happier, and that's our Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Teddy Bridgewater there at camp today. What's your impression of why they're bringing in a guy like Teddy Bridgewater, and what does that say about their belief in a guy like Kyle Trask?
Well, Jay, I think there's a story here.
Yeah, I do too.
And Jason Licht, and you sat right next to me when Jason Licht explained to everybody, we've been talking about Teddy Bridgewater for the last several weeks.
For weeks, yeah.
Weeks, which leads me to believe that they're not completely enamored with Kyle Trask. I think that's a legitimate competition once Teddy Bridgewater gets caught up to speed on this offense. Josh Grizzard obviously knows him from down in Miami when Grizz was down there. I think this is the story. There's a reason why they brought Teddy Bridgewater in. He's not just a camp arm to kind of take some reps during camp. I think he's here to be the backup to Baker Mayfield. I truly believe that the Buccaneers think that too. So I think Kyle Trask right now is on notice. That's how I perceived it. And when Jason Licht stepped up to the podium today and made those comments, I was like, wow, okay. I think they think a lot of Teddy Bridgewater, and I think Kyle Trask should be looking over his shoulder, quite frankly.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm 100% in agreement with you because he said weeks. So this wasn't like, oh, Baker got his hand banged up and we got to get – and this isn't in that same realm of what Todd's been saying the last couple of weeks of, yeah, we need another arm because we haven't seen anything from Michael Pratt. This is I almost just made the comparison to they want Teddy Bridgewater to be the Blaine Gabbert. Right, Blaine Gabbert was the sounding board for Tom Brady that came when he came off the field. Blaine, what did you see? What did I miss? Baker can't do that with Kyle Trask because he hasn't been in the fire. He hasn't been in the fire in the regular season game. So he's going to be able to come off the field. Teddy, what did you see? If Baker is out for a drive, if Baker is out for 2 or 3 games, Teddy can come in, keep kind of tread water a little bit and hand the reins back to Baker Mayfield. I think this is just like what we saw with Blaine Gabbert. And in the past, I don't know if we could have fault Kyle Trask because he was a younger player, but now, I mean, he's gotten every opportunity. And, were you surprised that he came back to the Buccaneers? Because I felt like if Kyle Trask was going to start this offseason, he was going to go somewhere and try to fight. He must have got word that teams aren't too high on him, because why would you come back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? The only way you're going to play is if Baker gets hurt.
And I think that's exactly the case. I think he looked around and said, okay, the interest isn't there. I'll just stay right where I am, where I know the offense, I know the people, they know me, and I'm just going to stay put. And look, he's a great dude. I mean, you've talked to him. I've talked to him. He's a really good guy. But by the way, he had a bad practice today. You and I were there watching him. I don't think that was one of his better practices. So maybe – the looming presence of Teddy Bridgewater is already starting to take effect with Kyle Trask. So, look, Teddy Bridgewater was coaching high school down there. He's not going to sign here, Jay, to be just a camp arm. This is a more significant signing than we thought, really, on face value. I think he's here to be the backup. I really do.
Yeah, I'm with you, buddy. When you look at guys like Mike Evans and Lavonte David, it's pretty crazy, right? Like they don't show any signs of slowing down. I mean, it is wild that you just go out there and you're like, oh, Mike made a great catch. Oh, Lavonte's popping people. Like we're very blessed. I mean, two guys that are future Ring of Honor inductees, no doubt about it. But 54-13, still chugging right along.
Two future Hall of Famers, Jay. I think Lavonte David, if you put Bobby Wagner in, you got to put him in.
How does Lavonte get in without the Pro Bowls, though, and the All Pros? That's going to be the thing, right? Because I've always, and over the years, I've looked at it, and I feel like the nice honey hole number is like a 5 Pro Bowls and 3 All Pros. That kind of is like the benchmark where then you start. I mean, Lavante's not going to reach either one of those, right? But when you look at his overall tackles and his sacks and his interceptions, like, you have to take a deeper dive into the numbers. How long do you think, is it a veterans committee thing for Lavonte, you think?
I think it's way down the road where he has a shot of getting in, but I absolutely believe he belongs in the Hall one day. And it was great because, we're watching practice today, and the very first snap in red zone drills, he fills the hole and he smacks Bucky Irving, dude. It's like, wow, okay, 5'4" is back in the building. So I expect nothing less out of him. Mike is Mike, man. He takes great care of his body, and so does Lavonte. And I think that's, the after effect of Tom Brady being here and coming in 2020 and showing these guys, this is how you prepare for camp. This is how you prepare for the preseason, regular season, playoffs. Take care of your mind and your body. And they fed off that. They learned from the great, and now they are absolutely passing those beliefs down to the other guys that are going to follow them. But those two guys are just great human beings and great football players too.
How good does Emeka Egbuka look as a rookie? He doesn't even look like a rookie, does he?
Jay, he's really good.
He's so good, man.
When I watch him out there from day one of camp, every day the guy comes to work and he makes plays. Every game, every day at camp. And the 3 words that come to mind is he's savvy, he's very polished, and he's smooth. The guy is smooth, runs great routes, catches the ball really well, super duper smart. Baker loves him. He's a quick learner. He knows this offense already. He knows how to play each of the receiver positions, X, Y, and Z. Really good blocker. I mean, now you know why the Buccaneers took this guy. And look, even Jason Licht mentioned, we knew he was good. I think he's exceeded their expectations already as to how good he has been.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I watch him, and every time the ball hits his hands, he catches it. There's just something slick about him, and he's going to be a good Buccaneer for many years to come. Who else stood out to you at camp? Maybe not just today, but for the last week and a half or so.
The defensive backs, man. This is about as deep of a cornerback room as the Bucs have had in a long, long time. Benjamin Morrison is making plays at camp. So is Jacob Parrish. They're pushing Jamel Dean. Zion McCollum, watching him go against Mike Evans has been a treat throughout practice. Those two guys are getting after it. Bryce Hall had that big injury last year. He's come back this year. He's been pretty good as well. So there is great depth in that room. And there's a really good battle going on at nickel corner where Chris Isian, who Todd Bowles said last week, he's already on the team. He's made the team. Yeah. You don't want to fill that guy with too many thoughts, but he comes to work each and every day. I don't think he's going to get complacent. But Chris Isian, Jacob Parrish, they've talked about putting Zion McCollum, depending upon the opponent that they face. If the opponent has a great slot receiver, you might see Zion down there in the nickel. So there's great depth at that position, Jay. And it's going to make for some really tough decisions for Jason Licht. you may very well see one of those guys get traded as well.
Yeah, don't be surprised if that happens as well. What do you? How was the chat with John Gruden yesterday? I know you guys had a.
Hey, look, man,
yeah,
you guys over at DAE, you're very sensitive. You know what I mean? John was great yesterday, and he's very confident that the Buccaneers are the biggest threat to the Eagles. That's the big takeaway I had from that conversation.
even more than the Lions, huh?
Yeah, and he was at Lions camp last week, and he said, there's some issues with their offensive line. They lost Frank Ragnow, all-pro retired. They lost Kevin Zietler in the offseason, so they're trying to fill those holes up front. So John saw the Lions up front, and he thinks that the Buccaneers pose a bigger threat to the Eagles than the Lions do, which I thought was fascinating.
Before I let you go, man, what's your biggest concern outside of Tristan Wirfs, outside of the injuries, right? What's your biggest concern about the Buccaneers? Or like, hey, I got to see this in the preseason or early on in the regular season?
It's Charlie Heck at left tackle. And I don't know if Wirfs is going to be ready. I'm going to say no, because here we are. We're a month away, Jay. He's not practicing. And he's putting more weight on that right leg of his. But my guess is he's not going to be able to practice for at least a couple more weeks. Now, there is optimism that he will not go on the PUP list, which would knock him out for at least 4 games. So
it's 3 now. I think it's 3 now this year.
Oh, is it 3?
I think they limited it down to 3. Somebody just told me that, so I got look at that. Look that up before the show at 3:00.
I will.
I think the PUP list is down to 3 now.
Well, they seem confident that if he misses a game, maybe 2, and maybe that's it. So that's optimism right there, and they're just going to have to, make do without him. But Charlie Heck is putting in the work. I mean, they're saying great things about him, but I can tell you, Yaya Diaby is wearing him out, just as Vita Vea has been wearing out Graham Barton. My goodness, every day, poor Graham Barton's got to go up against that beast.
What do you got coming up on the show today, buddy?
Buddy, a lot more on the Rays and the dwindling hope. Like, someone needs to get angry.
Yeah.
Like Brian Anderson said this, the Sunday night game, the Sunday afternoon game in Cincinnati a couple of weeks ago, and I'm watching the game, and I felt the same way. And Brian Anderson said, look, somebody on this team needs to get angry. Something needs to happen. Somebody needs to provide a spark. So we'll talk with the Rays, a lot about the Rays. Matt Joyce, your guy.
Yeah.
Sports Network. He will join the show at 4:00. Alex Golish.
Wow. Okay.
Football coach is on the show at 5:05. We got Take It or Leave It. We got Fill in the Blank. So we're on for 4 hours this afternoon, starting at 3. Should be good.
Sounds good. Make sure you download that iHeartRadio app and take it with you wherever you may go, and you can listen to those interviews from today and also that hideous interview with John Gruden yesterday. He is the Albanian assassin, Tom Krasniqi, WDAE. Catch him at 3:00 every day on 95.3 on the FM side, 620 on the AM side. I appreciate you, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, buddy. Talk
right,
to you
pal.
later, man. Be good.
Thanks, man. See ya. The one and only Tom Krasniqi. Check him out at 3:00 today. Gonna be fun interviews, always is, on the program with our pal Chris Mathis. Hey, T-Kraz, what's going on, brother? He's got the deepest voice of anybody I've ever met in my entire life. It is amazing to be able to sit there and chat with Chris Mathis. I'm like, this dude's 20 years younger than me, and his voice is 20 octaves lower than me. It is a trip. Beautiful, 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 beautiful stuff. Big thank you to Tom. Make sure you follow him on all social media platforms at T-Kraz. T-Kraz. No, I don't think Inside Pitch tonight because it's the late game. But, man, who was it? Somebody just put it. How's it going, T-Kraz? Is today the Rays' funeral? Could be. Could be. You look at what lies ahead for this team, and you look at the schedule, like the West Coast trip, and we've heard this about a lot of teams, especially in baseball. These West Coast trips really go a long way in either breaking your team or making your team. And you can go on a West Coast trip like this, and you can salvage it, right? You can salvage your season. You can bond. You can work together. Now you watch and you look at what this team has in front of them over these next 11 games. They play another game tonight against the Angels at 9:38. Tomorrow, you got an afternoon game at 4:00. Then you're off Thursday, and then Seattle, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You travel to Sacramento to take on the Athletics. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're off Thursday again. And then you finish your West Coast trip with Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon against the San Francisco Giants. So here's the thing about this West Coast trip where I don't get it. You see these West Coast trips sometimes and you have one day off or maybe 2 days off. You literally have a day off after Wednesday's game, a day off after next Wednesday's game, and then you have a day off on Monday after the last game against the Giants before you return home for a 2-game series against the Yankees. So, like, I just I don't get it, man. I honestly don't get why this has been so hard for the Tampa Bay Rays this year. And if you have a guy, listen, if your own TV broadcasters are calling you out, if they're calling you out and saying that somebody in the dugout needs to get pissed off and get angry, that's not good. Listen, you can critique whatever you want when it comes to decisions, when it comes to execution, whatever. But if you're criticizing the attitude and the effort of a team, God, man, you can't coach that. You either have that or you don't have that. You got to play pissed off sometimes. And you've heard that. Who was it? Was it I forgot what team it was. What team was it this year? Was it the Lightning? One of the maybe God, I can't think. Oh, it was baseball. It was USF baseball. There you go. I was going through my brain of all the teams here locally. But Mitch Hanna's in the USF men's baseball or the baseball team this year was saying, like, I need my guys to play like they're pissed off. You have to take offense to some of the things that are going on. And I couldn't agree with you more. I love that mindset. I love that attitude. And the Rays just don't have it. It's just very melancholy. And you take on the personality of your coach, right? Which in some ways is good. You don't get too high, don't get too low. I understand that. But like, sometimes you got to be able to dig yourself out of it. Dig yourself out of what the hell is going on and go on a run. Joe Madden, for all the stuff that people would malign him for and say all these things, he would do crazy shit, bringing snakes in and have guys dress up and go on road trips. Like, baseball's a long, arduous season. It's 162 games. You got to keep it fresh. You got to keep it funky. You got to do some different things sometimes. You have to know when to shake up the apple cart. And it's just the same thing now, year after year after year. And you look at this team, and we're heading for it once again. You look at them right now, they're 55 and 59. They're 11 games out of first. Remember when they were like nip tuck with the Yankees for first place? Now they're 11 games behind the Blue Jays. They're 8 behind the Red Sox, and they're 5.5 behind the Yankees. When it comes to the wild card, are they in the wild card race? I don't know. Are they? They're 5.5 games back from being the third wild card behind the Seattle Mariners. They're going to have to jump the Angels, the team they're playing tonight, the Royals, the Guardians, the Rangers, and the Mariners. So you have a team, and I don't understand the effort last night against the Angels. This is a team that you need to beat. This is a team that you need to leapfrog if you're going to make the playoffs this year, and that's the kind of effort that you give. I mean, what needs to change when it comes to the Rays? This woe is me attitude, like, oh, I guess we're just going to, complain about the payroll again. Oh, we're just going to hope that we're just going to blame it on Stu again. Like, that doesn't work. That does not work for me. That does not work for a lot of people here. This woe is me attitude. But we're getting farther and farther away. Again, 80 and 82 last year, 2 games under 500. This year, they're 55 and 59, 4 games under 500. Let's go back to 2023 when everybody looked at this team and said, wow, they're going to be a force. Baltimore's in first place, right? They made the playoffs. They won the division. The Rays were 99 and 63. They were, think about how many games over 500 they were, 36. They're not going to get anywhere close to that this year. And it's just sad. It's sad because there should be this should be a market. This should be a team that makes this market proud. And I don't see that. I don't see that at all. I see a team that constantly pisses the community off, constantly pisses its fan base off. Like, what message do you send to your team batting Christopher Morel fourth? Do you even care about the optics? Like, the Rays don't even care about the optics whatsoever. The Bucs kind of care. We know the Lightning care. The Rowdies and USF try as hard as they can because they understand where they are in the pecking order, this entire thing. And the Rays just do the same thing over and over and over again. And they make these moves that just make you scratch your head. And even the most optimistic Rays fan and supporter, they look at this team and they go, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to do when it comes to this team. And I don't see where it gets better. And I know Tom just put out something yesterday. T-Crash tells you on why you shouldn't give up on the Rays. Like, I feel like an idiot if I don't. I feel like I'm getting hoodwinked by this team. Time and time and time again. You're sitting there and telling me I shouldn't give up in this team, Thomas, and yet they roll Christopher Morel out there to back cleanup, and he goes 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. How is that even humanly possible against a left-handed pitcher? This is the type of pitcher that you are supposed to thrive on. It's just bad all the way around. Like, you have to constantly describe and explain your decisions. Like, it's just not going to work out. And you look at the strikeouts with this team, okay? Christopher Morel has the 5th most strikeouts on this team, and he only has 205 at-bats. For a guy, here, let's look at it here. As far as at-bats goes, Christopher Morel has the 11th most at-bats on this team. 11th. And he has the 5th most strikeouts. That's not good, man. And you continuously run him out there. And you expect fans to just sit there and be like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever you guys do is right. I just, woof. An absolute woof. No good at all. All right, we're giving tickets away to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Tennessee Titans preseason matchup on Saturday night at Raymond James. We're giving them away tomorrow. But you're going to have to tune in right at 12 o'clock to find out how you are going to win those tickets. We'll tell you right at the start of the show tomorrow. We're going to get those tickets courtesy of our good friends over at Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC. Let's check out the website right now. These guys, I mean, I just had a friend go over there. He said that Russ and the crew are working on that stuff right now. It's a beautiful thing. We'll go from there. Let's see. All right, here. I want to share the screen with you real quick. Colleen Wright's going to join us here in a second. All right. Honest Hammer. And there you go. Look at that bad boy. All right, there you see the menu, 813-244-0956. Head on over to thehonesthammer.com. You can check out their services, the portfolio, a little bit about them. They do a little bit of everything for you guys. Pre-engineered metal buildings, bathroom and kitchen remodels, new construction, commercial construction, interior and structural renovations. This company, these are Tampa Bay people, big-time community people, Tampa Bay sports fans. Hammer is just such an awesome guy. Again, 813-244-0956. General Contractor Company, TGC 153116. Give them a call. Scan that QR code that's always right here on the layout for our show, thehonesthammer@gmail.com. Hit them up today for any of your general contractor needs, with commercial, residential. He has got you an awesome guy all the way around. Go check them out, thehonesthammer.com, and you get a discount. You tell them that you heard it right here on the Jay Recher podcast. All right, we're going to bring her in a minute early because she's super busy and she's traveling all over the world. She's a world traveler. She's got the braids. Look at that. Model them off. Let's see them. Whoa.
Hi.
Hey now, girl, with the braids.
How you doing?
Good. Where are you? Where are we going?
Scotland.
You're going to Scotland?
I am. I'm going to go see Oasis. Isn't that fun?
Oh, my gosh. You tell the Gallaghers I said hello, would you?
I will.
What's your favorite Oasis song?
I'm going to go with Live Forever.
Okay, because if you say Wonderwall, everybody makes fun of you, right? Because
I know.
Is that the only song you know?
Although I do love that album, I would have to go with Live Forever.
Yeah, I love it. All right, so how long are you going for?
I'll be back at work the 18th.
Oh my
So
gosh.
no news between now and the 18th.
So I'm gonna text you. I'm gonna email you. Hey, guess what? Because you know what's gonna happen. You'll be on the plane ride over there, and something crazy is gonna happen.
That's what happened to me actually when St. Petersburg, Pinellas County, and the Rays announced that they had a deal. Remember back in September 2023, here to stay. I was in Greece, so of course it's gonna happen.
Unbelievable. All right, so give me the latest because I know you only got a couple minutes for us, and I appreciate you so much for carving out some time for us today. You are the greatest, and I'm so glad that we've forged this friendship. What's the latest with this team as far as let's go with the stadium? And we saw the article that came out, what was it, last week or so about the $40 million. Like, what can you give us some background on that whole thing? Because it seemed like in the middle of this whole thing, the Rays were like, all right, maybe we can get out of this whole thing. And the city, what's the whole back and forth with that?
Sure. So I wrote a story last Friday about St. Petersburg City Council member Richie Floyd. He has always been for a settlement. He's never wanted to fix Tropicana Field, especially since the stadium would be obsolete. Given, by the way, I'm so sorry. I'm on my porch if it's too
No, you're fine. It looks great.
He said, like, maybe it's useless to throw in, $60 million, right, at least to a stadium that might not have a tenant beyond 3 years, might be obsolete. So I had recently heard something about this like $40 million figure, and I approached him on Friday, and he was like, actually, yes, that is true. And that is the number I was told that the city would have to pay to buy the Rays out of their agreement. So even though the stadium, the new stadium deal, right, from September 2023 fell through, the city is still under its current agreement with the Rays from 1995. Which basically says that the Rays have to play at Tropicana Field until it expires in 2027. That deal that agreement was extended for every year the Trop can't be used. So it's been extended now through 2028. So the Rays are going to come back and play at Tropicana Field for 2026, 2027, 2028. Yeah, so Richie says he's been saying all along, like, I don't understand why we didn't explore more of a settlement. The city has said, well, any settlement we've wanted to look at should have been tied to a new stadium. And the Rays didn't go for it. Obviously, both parties did not come up in an agreement because here we are, right? Yeah. And then the Rays, I believe it was like December 30th or December 31st, sent a letter saying, actually, no, we do want repairs. So, but it is kind of something to revisit, especially since, the estimates for what is going to be spent on Tropicana Field are ticking a little bit up, not too much. And some people say, that's still within the ballpark of what they were planning on spending. But just this idea of like, should this have been bought out, or, is there another way we could have come to this? So I haven't been able to talk to anybody else. Other people say they don't remember that $40 million figure. The Rays won't comment. I haven't been able to get with Mayor Ken Welch. I've been asking for a while now to meet with him, and I haven't gotten that time. So hopefully when I get back, we can discuss more and get into what's next.
I don't mean this to sound like a personal question for Ken Welch, but are his feelings hurt? Like, I feel so bad for this man. Like, regardless, politically aside, I've talked to him and I interviewed him on multiple occasions, and man, he put his neck on the line for this entire deal to go through. And, he's still trying to, I saw reconfigure that historic gas plant district, but he was saying like, hey, we can do this. We can honor the African-American history, and we can do this with baseball, and we can really revitalize that part of our community. And now we're stuck with kind of egg on his face. I mean, do you feel it? And I don't know if that's the right way to ask the question, but do you feel like his feelings are hurt? Do you feel like he does feel remorse for having to go this far and done this dance with Stu and the Rays and to ultimately wind up with nothing?
I mean, I don't know if remorse is the right word, like maybe, but I do think it's a massive disappointment. I mean, he has not concealed his feelings. He's sworn off talking with Stu, right? So I do think, that it does really throw a wrench in things. This was like a big focus of his entire staff, where a lot of other things have kind of like being kind of tabled or kind of pushed off to the side, because this was kind of like the big kahuna, right? Ken went further, and this is just factually true. There's no like feelings or whatever in this. Like, he went further than any other mayor to try to get the Rays to stay for another 30 years. And we're talking 6 mayors on either side of Tampa Bay. We're talking Buckhorn and Castor over in Tampa. We're talking Rick Baker, Mayor Foster, Mayor Kreisman. Like, he really did go further. And maybe, you can't put all of that on Ken Welch of like give him all the credit because he did have time on his side, right? This agreement was expiring. St. Pete is very different than it was, say, in 2008 or even 2013 or even 2015. You know, it's a different city, more attractive to the Rays now. But he kind of put all his eggs in that basket, and he's up for re-election next year. He's got a year to go. And it does, like, you know, you could push this and, you know, even if you don't like the deal, because the deal did have like a lot of loopholes, a lot of things that were not extremely like baked. But at least it kind of like put an end to the question for this saga that just keeps going on and on and on. And at least like we could move on. Like, okay, they're here, they're building a thing, they're staying, and now we can move on to something else. And I think some people were looking for certainty, and that's the word that he uses, is certainty. We had certainty to the Rays question, and things are less certain than ever. And and it's not his fault that the Rays pulled out. I think I've said it on this show, and I've said it before, that like if there were no hurricanes, maybe we'd have shovels in the ground. I don't know. This is all crystal ball hypothetical, right? But like if there weren't any hurricanes, we'd probably be okay. If there wasn't an election, we'd probably be okay. It's the combo of the two plus election season that kind of maybe lead us to where we are today. But who knows? I mean, these are the Rays. The Rays have also had all this time to not only develop Tropicana Field, because they've had 50% of the development rights up until the stadium deal. Now they do not. They could have developed all along. You know, something else could have been brokered all along. So I mean, there's there's definitely hard feelings. He doesn't want to negotiate with Stu. The door is open for new buyers. But Stu, no, I don't think there's any relations there. And, you know, a few weeks ago, right, the city council voted to officially terminate. The deal was kind of over because a key document expired, but just to totally put the thing to bed. And the point of that, and this is straight from Mayor Ken Welch to me, was to avoid litigation over the deal, to avoid the Rays suing or city suing or anybody. So just the fact that was something that was said of like, we just want to avoid any kind of problems.
It just tells
that's
you
not a great relation. It's a divorce.
No, you're right. It's contentious.
It's a divorce.
Yeah, no doubt. Before I let you go, two things. Your thoughts on when this team could be sold. Do you think it'll be sold by? Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. There was a motorcycle. Say that
No,
again.
you're fine. That's fine. I love it for the ambiance. It helps in the background. Two things. One, do you think the team will be sold by the end of the season, by the end of the year? And also, do you think that stadium ends up on the St. Pete side or the Tampa side?
Okay, so when is deal going through? This is like more out of my wheelhouse and more into Hopkins, because this becomes like a major league issue thing.
Yeah, no, that's why I want because I've talked to him about it, and I just wanted your perspective of it, because you're so unique to it and the way that you've approached this entire conversation and happenings.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think time is of the essence because of this contract, right? Of course, it can always be extended. Maybe St. Pete's okay with that. I'm not sure. I'm hearing, we've reported September. That might be an announcement with like the deal closing later on, like maybe an announcement of terms, and this is what we're expecting. Obviously Major League Baseball owners have to vote to approve this stuff. But, I know a lot of people do want to get through the season. That's my understanding of it. So I don't know if it's super imminent. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it does happen while I'm gone. Who knows? Yeah. But I'm thinking maybe like postseason. And where are they going? From all I can tell, like the owners, and I haven't spoken directly with Patrick Zalupski, who's the prospective owner, or anybody there. It seems like they're aiming for Tampa. Is that going to happen? I don't know. I kind of compare this to like St. Pete is kind of like living with mom and dad. Like it's not the Rays. I feel like there's this sense of like, it's not really where you want to be, but it's this place that makes financial sense. You've got
live there to save rent a little bit before you go out on your own and spread your wings. Yeah,
exactly. Like you've got Pinellas County, who's got a huge tourist tax chest, right, ready to spend. Right. You've got that money. You've got a prime redevelopment opportunity in the heart of St. Pete. But if you don't want to be there because St. Pete's in a peninsula and it's hard to get to, you go to Tampa. But the Rays are going to have to compete with the Bucs, whose contract is also up in 2028. I might have that date wrong, but in a few years, they're also up for renewal at Raymond James. and also the Lightning. Lightning are beloved. Both of those teams are going to have their hand out for some public cash, and the Rays are going to be third. They're going to be third on the list. Can they accommodate all of them? Ken Hagen thinks so. But it's not as easy as St. Pete, I would assume, would be. But St. Pete also has kind of a tortured history. So I don't know if maybe new owners look at that and think, I don't even want to bother. I want to maybe start in Tampa and wind up in St. Pete. This is all guesswork. But that's just my read of the situation.
Right before she heads to Scotland, she joins us here on the Recher podcast, one of our favorite guests, Colleen Wright of the Tampa Bay Times. Guys and gals, she's one of the most talented writers, not just for the Tampa Bay Times, but anybody here in the Tampa Bay area. Subscribe to the Tampa Bay Times today. We've had all of our friends on, and you know how much we support local on the program. Thank you so much. I know how busy you are. Safe flight, safe travels. I'll let the Rays know not to have any big news announced while you're gone, and we'll talk to you when you get back. Have a blast. Take a lot of pictures.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
You got it. Colleen Wright, Tampa Bay Times. Just doesn't get much better than that. She is the best. So smart. And I love her perspective on things. That's why I asked her the question I did about the team being sold. And I know that's more Topkin and Romano's wheelhouse, but for her perspective and just seeing all the, the possible litigation when it came to, the end of the deal there, it's bad, man. It's bad. The Rays and the relationship with St. Pete, it's nuts. It is nuts. On that, you think about this team outside of the 25-9 stretch, it's been a rough year, a rough 12 months for our Tampa Bay Rays. It really has. And you're just looking at this team. She is the greatest. You're fine. She said, my headphones lost connection. Of course, you're fine. It sounded awesome. She's just awesome, man. She is so freaking talented. And I think when you look at this Rays saga, when it comes to the stadium and when it comes to the ownership, they got to get this shit handled. They got to figure this stuff out quickly. Because the more it just kind of hangs over this black cloud when it comes to this team over and over and over again, you just get sick of it, man. You're just sick of talking about it. Shout out to Chan Leonard again with another super chat. Colleen is Bay. Thanks for having her on. Do it often. Listen, that's the great thing about this show is that when we started doing this podcast, who was the first person to have Colleen Wright on? Well, actually, I had her on for Jay and Zach, but then here for the podcast, we had Chris Lavala on from the Pinellas County Commissioners. We got to get him on soon as well because we haven't talked to him in a while, and we were the first people to have him on the program. And talking about this Rays Stadium deal over the last couple of years, it's been a lot. It's exhausting. But at the end of the day, it's news. It's worthy. And we're putting our time and our energy and our money into all this stuff. And I mean, God, they got to figure this shit out, man. They got baseball. This is a baseball town, but we sure as heck don't act like it compared to, what we see of how we dealt with the Rays over the years. It's rough. It is rough. All right. Have you guys seen the new logo for the Stadium Series? Tampa Bay Lightning, baby. Look at this bad boy. So obviously we know that there's a game January 2nd down in South Florida between the Rangers and the Panthers. And then we have our game here at Raymond James Stadium, February 2nd, 2026. And let me share my screen. Come on now. If you haven't seen it, here it is. Look at that. I'll take this off real quick. There you go. Look at that. Not bad, huh? NHL Lightning Bruins unveil 2026 Stadium Series logo for the outdoor game, drawing inspiration from their swashbuckling history, culture in Tampa Bay for February 1st. And if there's one thing that we do know about the NHL and the Tampa Bay Lightning, when they get together, I mean, it works. It works no matter what it is. You want an all-star game here at the last second? Don't worry, Tampa will take care of you. Oh, our good friend Karen Clementi. So great to see you today, Karen. My favorite Karen. The Stadium Series logo is insane. I cannot wait for the jersey. And like our friend Dolan said, that is badass. Let me know what you think of the Stadium Series logo. I love it. If you want to get in on the conversation, give us a call. Either via the phone or the laptop. Just click on the link there in the chat, streamyard.com/AZDASC. VWN7. Chan, please tell me how they are going to do outdoor hockey in Florida. Like, technically, how does that work? I've never seen it anywhere near Florida. The ice of that Stadium Series will look like the water in that logo. So, from what I'm hearing, and we're going to have our good pal, they're going to announce this, I know, a little bit later down the road, because when we had Rob Higgins on a couple of months ago to talk about this, when the initial announcement was made, that was a point of contention that I had. Like, bro, how is this going to work? You know, I'm a kid that grew up, you know, skating on the ice outside in Lake Carmel there in New York. They apparently have a way. They apparently have a system that is going to make this work. And as long as it's not in the 70s, I think they'll be okay. Because, and Dolan has it here, they're going to have big tents over the ice during the day, pull them off at the last minute to maintain ice temperature. That's true. One of the things that I heard that they were more concerned about was the humidity and also the precipitation. Is it going to rain? That type of thing could be an issue. But I will definitely be there, and I hope you guys will be too. You got to be able to go to tentpole events like this because there's really nothing like it. They do such a good job of maintaining the temperature of the ice underneath the rink, so I'm sure that that's another aspect that's going to go into it. There is going to be things that they do that is so above my pay grade when it comes to like engineers and how they're going to be able to try to keep this ice cool, and it's going to make sure that it's not to a point where that the ice is choppy. We've seen it once before. There was bad snow. I think it was up in Buffalo, maybe against the Penguins, that one game when it was snowing out and the guys were skating slow as hell. Part of me, like games like that, it's almost like the snow games or the rain games in the NFL. I think it's kind of charming in a way too. So if it's not 100%, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. I know it might give an opportunity for people to crap on it. Like, this is why hockey shouldn't be outside in Florida. The one thing that really helps them too, Chan, when you ask this question, is that there's going to be a game in South Florida the month before. So I would actually almost be a little bit more worried about that game than the game up here, because they're going to experience things there in South Florida that they've never experienced before. And they're going to have to deal with it on the fly. There's a little bit of a trial and error when it comes to the game here on February 2nd. We're like, all right, this worked, this didn't work. And also January can be fickle. I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but February sometimes is the coldest month for me when it comes to Florida. So that's why I feel like that's the right time. Both these games are going to be at night. It can't be during the day. It's got to be as late as humanly possible. I don't care if the game's at 8 o'clock. Do whatever you got to do to make sure the sun not is just down, but it has been down. So you don't have to deal with anything like that. Karen, it kicks off my 50th birthday week. I am very surprised. I did not know that you were going to be 50. Good for you. I hope you have a wonderful time, and I hope you're there at the game. All right, so there is the logo there. At 1:30 today, we are going to hear from Jason Licht. So we'll hear from Bucs General Manager Jason Licht. It's about 10 minutes long. We'll get to that here momentarily. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Guys, kill that like button. I need you to kill that like button, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, or Twitter. Kill that like button. And also like and subscribe on YouTube. I need as many subscribers as humanly possible. That's the only way we're going to get this thing rolling. And if you want to chat via the Super Chat, our guy Chan Leonard, $5, man. It goes a long way every single time you chime in with the Super Chat. I'm eternally grateful, and it is a big time help. All right. WWE last night. I want to talk about that before we get to Jason Licht. So last night, Monday Night Raw, I thought it was one of the best Monday Night Raws of the year. There was so much that went into it. They featured a lot of the guys and gals early on that didn't have a spot on the card for SummerSlam. And, you know, they started off with Seth Rollins. Obviously, you do that. And, you know, the ruse of the century, an incredible cash in on Saturday night one. But I love how you saw Penta in action and Dragon Lee in action and, you know, Grayson Waller in action. Like, that's good. You want to be able to utilize all of your talent. And it was just Sheamus and Rusev. What a match. An absolute barn burner. Those guys are beating the absolute shit out of each other. It was so entertaining to watch. And you see Charlotte Flair and you see Alexa Bliss, and they end up having an impromptu tag match with Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. And it got me thinking about WWE Unreal. Now, if you haven't watched it yet, if you're a wrestling fan or you've ever been a wrestling fan, even if you're not a wrestling fan, I just think it's unique. You've been around wrestling at some point in your life. If you care at all, give it a shot. It's only 5 episodes, but it's very unique because it goes behind the scenes and it explains how, kind of how the sausage is made there within World Wrestling Entertainment. And we haven't really ever gotten anything like that. And I think back to The Undertaker, who was so worried over the years. He was that guy that he would wear his, his outfit out in public. And he was just so focused on, no matter what happens, I got to make sure that I take care of my character and take care of the business. That was so crucial and important for him. Guys back in the day, and they call that kayfabe, for those who don't know, kayfabe, keeping the stories, keeping the good guys with the good guys and the bad guys with the bad guys, and not giving anybody a peek behind the curtain. Well, now The Undertaker has been part of the, crew that's opened that curtain up and let people in. And now you have this WWE Unreal show where it's letting people see what goes on backstage when they're setting up these matches, the conversations between the agents and the wrestlers and the referees and the roles of the referees. I know there were people that were worried that it's revealing too much about the business. I don't worry about shit like that because it's just like you have no control over that. It just is what it is. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did. It is fantastic. And I don't watch the shows and think like, wow, it ruined wrestling for me. I think you understand, if you're a wrestling fan, that you suspend suspend your belief, right? These are characters on a TV program, the same way that that the guys on The Big Bang Theory aren't all scientists, and that Robert Downey Jr. is not Iron Man, and right, like we should know that stuff. And they're not really riding dragons; they're on Game of Thrones, right? It's just people don't struggle with suspending their reality for that. So how come people get so bent out of shape when we're talking about wrestling? Yeah, the great part about wrestling is they kind of blur the lines, and it's real people that are out there. And some people do have their real first and last name. I think, to me, that makes it even more enticing, not less. It's more enticing when you have guys and gals out there where there is a semblance of truth peppered in throughout all of the make-believe. And I didn't look at the WWE Unreal thing as it ruined my experience whatsoever. I think we knew a lot of this was, we know that this stuff is staged and it's choreographed. So to be able to get a peek behind the scenes, I thought it was awesome. I thought it was great. And if anything, what I really enjoyed is I enjoyed the way that they went about it. I enjoyed that they gave the people's real names. They gave the people's real names and again, let everybody know, like, they're playing a character. It doesn't say CM Punk on his birth certificate. It's Phil Brooks. It's not Charlotte Flair. It's Ashley Fleer. Like, that's their real names. And the way that they approached it, it really humanized some of the biggest stars in the world. And you think about Charlotte Flair and the pressure that she was under. She's worried about people remembering who she is. Charlotte Flair is the greatest female wrestler of all time. No doubt about it. She is such an incredible in-ring performer. She was amazing last night. Amazing on Monday Night Raw. One of the best matches I've seen her wrestle. Obviously, she's Ric Flair's daughter. Like, she walks into a room and everybody's head turns. And a girl like that questioned whether people remembered her. The insecurities that she has. Rhea Ripley, getting nervous before she goes out there. She's a badass. But it humanized these men and women to make you realize, like, hey, man, even though they're these larger-than-life personalities and they go in the ring and they perform these incredible acts, like, they're humans too. Jey Uso getting blown up, getting tired, getting like jacked up from his, doing all the eats, going down to the crowd. That's part of it. It's part of the growth. Watching CM Punk react the way that he did. This guy's such a badass. This guy's so freaking tough. And to see him like have a breakdown before going out there, because he finally got a chance to main event WrestleMania. Like, that's real. That's authentic. That's what we want. Like, we want that. We want these kind of raw emotions from the characters that, you know, we support, that we watch, our favorite TV shows. How we like that in reality television too. We like the reality aspect of it. We like when, you know, you peel back a layer of the onion and you see somebody that's they're legit. CM Punk was legit. I don't want to say nervous, but it's just his embrace with Triple H. Those guys hated each other. That wasn't kayfabe. That wasn't a work. That was a shoot. Those guys did not like each other. And now look at them. They're thick as thieves. They don't agree on everything. But to be able to see them embrace before that, man, amazing. Truly amazing. And if you didn't like that, it says a lot more about you than the WWE. The business hasn't changed. Listen, WWE Unreal came out last week. It ruined the business. Bullshit. Saturday night, we had one of the biggest surprises in the history of wrestling when Seth Rollins, who lied to everybody for 3 weeks saying that he banged up his knee, turned around, threw away his crutches, turned back around, took off his knee brace, beat the shit out of CM Punk with his Money in the Bank briefcase, and cashed in for the second time in his career. And now he's the world heavyweight champion, leaving people shocked and stunned all over the world. So if WWE Unreal was that harmful, we wouldn't have been surprised by Seth Rollins. We wouldn't have been surprised by Brock Lesnar coming out on Sunday night. Would I love to be able to look at behind the scenes of the whole Seth ruse and Becky Lynch back there celebrating and hiding Brock Lesnar, and he comes back out after the John Cena Cody Rhodes? Yeah. Hell yeah. After the fact, I love that. People are like, oh, people don't always want to see the magicians and their magic tricks. Yeah, I kind of do. Not all the time, but it's my choice. You don't have to go watch the WWE Unreal thing. If you don't like it, then don't watch it. If you think it's going to ruin your experience, don't watch it. People are they act like they have no choice in the matter sometimes of being able to engage in a product or not. Just don't do it. I don't get when people go on social media and they bitch and complain about shows and all these different things. Like, they just don't watch it. Don't support the team. Don't go to the restaurant. Don't do any of that stuff. I'm not going to sit here and bash horror movies and science fiction and all these different things. Like, they're not my thing. I'm not going to sit there and waste my time bitching and moaning about it. Greg DeCruz, I binged all the episodes and I loved it. I hope they do it again. It's best to do it a few months after the storylines have concluded. I think most of them are done now, but you're right, man. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it looks like they're going to do a season 2, and we'll see if they have the Seth Rollins thing, man. That is so crazy. I love that. That is so damn cool. So my final verdict, I think it was a smashing, a rousing success. So good for the WWE, and I cannot wait for the second time that we see that, or the second season for them. All right. We'll finish up the show today, and we will hear from Buccaneers general manager Jason Licht. This guy, you think about what he's been able to do over the last couple of years, constructing this team, bringing all these good players back and drafting and developing a lot of these good players. He deserves a lot. Deserves a lot of the credit. So it's about 10 minutes. So bear with me. Turn that audio all the way up so you can hear it. Here is a Buccaneers general manager Jason Licht from earlier today over at the Advent Health Training Center at One Buccaneer Place.
Decision to bring Teddy in, and I guess he was going to take a physical. I guess your intent and what he signed or not, but just what he gives you in that room that you might not have currently.
Yeah, so he was a visit today. Still haven't signed it, but the intention is to do that. We've talked about this actually. It's been over a couple weeks, maybe even over the summer. We had some discussions about it. That would be a nice addition for the room. Good for Baker, experienced guy, obviously very smart, old high school coach, old coach in general, but just a good addition just to have that wealth of experience.
Could it come down to him actually competing with Kyle for the backup position at all?
We still have preseason games to play and all that, but right now Kyle's our backup. That's the intention, and that's what we're hoping for. But yeah, everybody's competing.
Would this be a situation where if he does get signed and you like him, performs well, keep 3 quarterbacks on the active roster rather than having a veteran as you have in the past in the practice squad?
I think all possibilities are out there. A lot of things happen between now and then, so it's hard to put that together. That's one option.
He's been in the league a long time. Jason's played for a lot of teams, a lot of systems, had a good career. But Beers was down there with him in Miami at least 10 years. So what was Josh able to tell you about that?
There's a world of him. He's a pro's pro. And, that obviously helps to have an offensive coordinator that has a relationship with him. Todd has a good relationship with him. We had him in here 2014 for the draft. There was might have been a recent already a situation where we would have taken him if he fell a little further. And, a few years ago, he was what was behind going over 2. So we talked about that today on the sidelines. So it's we ended up with Tom Brady, but now we have Teddy. You can't have everything at once. You can have everything, just not all at once.
Jason, have you worked him out this year? When did that happen?
No.
Jason, we're seeing a lot of videos on social media coming out about kind of the discussions leading up to the drafting of Ibuka in the first round. Now that you see him out there in the Buccaneers garb, what is it like to be able to see him out there and doing some of those things that you saw on tape?
I'm sorry, the first part you talking about America?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's everything that we thought plus some. So it's always good when that's the impression when a player exceeds your expectations. So very, very excited, obviously.
Jason, what about your thoughts on Hassan Reddick, a new addition as well?
Well, he's as explosive as I thought. He's excellent shape, and he knows the defense. But what has been the bigger impression for me is what he's been in the locker room so far, and just the presence that he has in terms of a leader. And it's just been kind of cool to see. I don't think anybody thought he was going to be anything different than that, but it's just he's going to be an incredible addition not only on the field but off.
Jason, with the evolution of offenses in the NFL, it's required an evolution of the nickel defender. You've gone through, you might have your 5th nickel defender this year. Can you talk about how that's changed your scouting process for that position specifically?
We've had a lot of discussions, myself, my staff, Todd, his staff, on what we are ideally looking for there. And what I'm excited about right now is that we have a lot of options there. And there have been years where we didn't have any options there. And now we have a lot of options there. And we like what we see so far.
Jason, you guys have so much back from last year that there's not a lot of starting jobs that are necessarily up for grabs. What are the positions that you're most excited to see shake out here in the next 3 years?
I like what the kind of that 5th, 6th, 7th spot, whatever it is, the hell we're getting to keep a receiver. I like the depth that you see in the secondary. I like the depth that there's going to be some guys vying for jobs that somebody's going to be the odd man out at defensive line too. So there's a lot of these positions. Running back you get Josh Williams back, who is really impressing us. So it's just kind of spread throughout.
And there's some hopeful optimism about Chris Godwin possibly being ready for week 1. As we get closer to the start of the preseason, where is Godwin in terms of his recovery? And do you see him possibly starting the season at UP?
That we don't know yet. He's doing very well. He's advancing through his protocols. He's exactly where they anticipated and hoped that he would be at this point. We still got a ways to go.
Hainsey and School both provided some quality snaps for you last year, needing to fill in for injured starters. Obviously, you don't have them this year. Can you talk a little bit about your offensive line depth? Who stood out to you?
I think Charlie's done a really nice job there at left tackle. He's getting a lot of reps against quality people, and that's gonna benefit all of us by the time the regular season comes. Happy with him. Happy with some of our young players, Elijah, Ben Scott, been impressive. So is Jake Majors, and Haggard's taken a step this year. So across the board, it's been good. It's been solid. It's been good competitions, which is going to help us all.
You found offensive linemen a lot of places, right? But can you talk about Benjamin and his story and how unique that is and how he's doing it?
Well, it's unique that he played 2 years of college football, but really only won in a couple games in one season as offensive tackle. And just his natural strength and athleticism is very, very impressive. Every day he's taking another step forward, just learning the nuances of the game, and there's a lot of nuances.
Yeah.
But the guy that definitely root for with his background, and there's a chance you could have something here that he's still kind of that raw piece of clay that we're still trying to mold, but he's with the right people right now to mold.
Is Charlie Heck the player you thought he was?
Yes.
Up to this point, or is he better?
Yeah, he's what we thought he was, which is very solid, and what we were looking for at that position when we lost school, and I don't think we'll miss a beat. I think, obviously he's not Tristan Wirfs, but in terms of what we're looking for a swing tackle that can step in and play a couple games.
Speaking of Tristan Wirfs, we've seen him out here walking with no knee brace on. He has crutches. Sometimes he just carries the crutches around. Are you optimistic and hopeful about where he is from his progress?
Yeah, he's doing an excellent job. We just have to be careful here and not push him out there too early. I mean, I'm sure we'll put him through a battery test before we actually deem him fit to play. I'm sure the doctors will. Just want to be careful with that one because he's a cornerstone player for us. We don't want to put him out there before it's too soon, but he's doing an excellent job.
The line back and forth was a point of conversation before the season, and then you guys walked right now for about 8 minutes. Step up and get him the rest of the season. What have you seen from him in this training camp, and how does he keep your confidence that he can really take that spot?
100% confident. He's made a lot of plays. He's very smart. Running around full speed without any hesitation. He knows where he's supposed to be. He knows where his fits are. He's good coverage. I mean, he's really kind of like mature beyond his years in terms of football knowledge and all that stuff. So I'm very excited about him.
Jason, are you still monitoring the offensive tackle market and its Wirfs recovery tied to that in any way?
Still monitoring, always looking to see what's out there in terms of backups, in terms of what might be able to help us, what might be able to help us on practice squad compared to what we have. Right now we like all of our guys, but we're still monitoring. You've got to take a lot of players that are out there still that are recognizable names. Sometimes there's a reason they're out there, injury, things like that. So just got to be careful, just not adding names and making sure that we're adding somebody that can actually help and will be able.
What's your impression of the kind of camp Mike Evans and Lavonte back today?
Unreal. It's just crazy how Mike, to me, looks the same as he did, maybe better in some ways as a rookie. Hasn't lost a beat, and he's enjoying it. He's having a lot of fun. You can just tell his body language and the way he just jokes around in between periods. This is what he loves. So it's good to see him. And Lavonte, the same thing. It's good to see him out there. He knows his body better than anybody and what he needs to do to get ready for the season. So but when he's out there, he looks like he's ready to go.
There's a lot of interest with Desmond Watson. Where are you at with him? You must have some intrigue, but for him to be able to put on the pads and bring him out, you got to hit a certain number a week.
We have some milestones that we want him to hit before we get him out there. He's doing a solid job getting there. That's all I'm saying.
Jason, you guys got Ryan Miller back today, but you still have Palmer and Diaz and you got your last preseason game is only 17 days off. Are you hopeful or confident that you'll be able to get those guys in games as you try and figure out the
Yes. I think we'll be getting some of them back. Could be next week. Yeah.
All right, there you go. Buccaneers General Manager Jason Licht speaking over at the Advent Health Training Center today at One Buccaneer Place. And I told you guys, you heard him right there. You heard him say what he had to say about Desmond Watson. He was like, I think he's doing a solid job. That's all I have to say. All right, so that kind of means like you don't want any more questions on it. You don't do that with somebody like, yeah, you're thrilled with their progress. Ask me more. Ask me more. You heard him talk about Godwin. You heard him talk about Tristan Wirfs. I don't know what this means in the long run for a guy like Desmond Watson with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you already had to say, like we were talking about Teddy Bridgewater, he's had an eye on him for a couple of weeks. So this isn't something where they just brought Teddy Bridgewater in because of what happened with Baker Mayfield with his hand. I mean, I think they're just over the whole Kyle Trask thing. It didn't work out, and it seems like they're just going to cut bait with the kid. Maybe they can trade him for a late round draft pick, but it just hasn't worked out. And for a guy like Teddy Bridgewater, he makes more sense for what the Buccaneers need this year in 2025 rather than a guy like Kyle Trask. And I don't think, they're wrong with that assessment, because as a guy like Teddy could just do a little bit of everything. He can start if you need to for a couple of games. He can be your backup. He can be the ultimate sounding board for Baker Mayfield. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I'm just excited for this team. I want them to play already. I want them to get out there on the field so they can hit other people. But, yeah, you heard it. Lavonte David and Mike Evans, they were freaking awesome today. Just unbelievable. They were so damn good. Turn back the hands of time. Like they don't look like they age at all. But it's another fun day at the Advent Health Training Center at One Buccaneer Place. We'll be back out there tomorrow as well for practice with the fellas and then joint practice with the Titans on Thursday before the game on Saturday night. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I'm everywhere. Like and subscribe on YouTube. We got some great guests coming up later on this week, including Josh Capo from Pewter Report. We got a couple other irons in the fire as well. A big thank you to our guest today, Colleen Wright of the Tampa Bay Times. Make sure you support local and subscribe to the Tampa Bay Times today. And our guy, Tom Krasniqi, T-Kraz. You can hear him every day at 3 on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. All right, that's going to wrap it up for me, ladies and gents. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow at noon right here on the Jay Recher Podcast. And don't forget, tomorrow we've got tickets for you to that Buccaneers preseason game on Saturday night, courtesy of my friend over at the Honest Hammer Custom Builders LLC, 213-244-0956. A big shout out to our guy Chan Leonard as well. Hold on before I go. So yeah, Honest Hammer Custom Builders LLC. There's the QR code. Scan it today. He'll be able to help you out. And our guy Chan Leonard, who hit us up with a couple of super chats, he's going to actually work with our guy, maybe a friend of our guy, over there at The Honest Hammer. TheHonestHammer.com. Again, 813-244-0956. There is the QR code. We'll give away some Bucs tickets tomorrow. We'll let you know how you can win them at the top of the show tomorrow at 12 o'clock. So make sure you don't miss it. And you could be there in the building at Raymond James Stadium. I'll be there, and hopefully you will be too. That's going to wrap it up for me. See you tomorrow at noon right here on the Jay Recher Podcast. I'm gone. Peace out.